On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks build up a 21-point lead and almost blow it to the Los Angeles Lakers. How did the Mavericks stay firm and stay composed and get this win? And late in the fourth, Luka calls for the mismatch against LeBron and takes advantage of the matchup in the fourth quarter. We'll talk about that, break it all down on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Hey, Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good!
And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every single day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, where you can subscribe to the show. We're getting closer to 1,000 subs. Thanks to everybody for subscribing and join us. Did I say 1,000?
You said 1,000.
Plus 10,000, 11,000 is what we're creeping up. Was what we're creeping up to. Joining me, as always, keeping me honest, co-host, writer, and contributor at Mavs.com. The LeBron lover, the one more thing king. What you got for me?
You were doing so good with nicknames. What is going on? I want to give a shout out to Devin. Devin shot me a DM earlier today, and he said, you know what he said? He said, I just want to say thank you for enjoying the Lakers being as bad as they are. He enjoys it with me. Shout out to all the people driving to work this morning. And you know what? You could think about if you're like just dreading your work day today, and you're like, man, today's gonna suck. I have a ton of meetings. I'm wearing some dumb outfit. You bought it like Macy's or something.
That person in my office is 100% going to say something to me about something that I don't care about today. And like, you just know it's coming, that comment. I don't know why that's the worst thing in the world when you work in an office, but it's coming today.
It's the worst. And all you got to think about is Russell Westbrook bricking a bank shot. You can think about Luka Doncic literally calling for the mismatch on LeBron James, and just enjoy, just soak it in, the Lakers being bad. I love every bit of it. There's nothing like beating the Lakers. It's great.
And they are quite bad. I mean, they're very bad right now. They are now, what is it? I mean, there are 7 games under 500. They're in the play-in. They're closer to the 12th seed than they are to the 8th seed right now. If you just look at the standings, I think StatMuse tweeted that out. But that Lakers team is bad. But the Mavericks, gotta win. You'll keep the win, absolutely. And there's so much to talk about in this game. We have to. I almost feel like even before LeBron and Luka late in the game, it's Luka's putback dunk. Luka Doncic did a thing that I didn't. We continue to be surprised by Luka Doncic on this podcast. We have now covered Luka every single year in the NBA. We covered him a pretty decent amount before coming into the NBA because we were doing a lot of draft prep on him, and we were all for Luka then. We've been like on the Luka train.
Run.
I was gonna say that we've done the Olympic runs now. We've done all of it. We've watched Luka so much now. Watched every single minute of his NBA career, preseason, regular season, postseason, the Olympic run, all that. And yet, this is a thing that absolutely floored me today, was Luka, after a Spencer Dinwidie missed corner 3, skies for the putback. I mean, absolutely got air that I just did not expect him to get. Did he push on Dwight Howard's shoulder? No, he did not. No. Not at all. He just gets up there and puts it down, and the whole world was shocked. I was sitting there, I was sitting right here in this chair by myself, just mouth agape, just trying to get the clip up as fast as possible on Twitter and just like speechless.
Yeah, I didn't know how to react. There's a lot of times when big moments happen in a game, I'll stand up, I'll freak out. I'll pound my chest a little bit. The other day, my son was like, "Too loud, papai, too loud."
He told you you're too loud.
Yeah, too loud, papai, too loud. And my wife was like, "It's okay. He's excited. He's passionate." It's like,
okay, I know your son. He's never that loud, right? Never. He's the quietest little kid.
Never at all. I love my guy, but no, I was more stunned like you than I was like freaking. It was just, you never see that. I mean, even Dorian Finney-Smith, post game said that he thought it was Maxey, and Tim McMahon tweeted out that quote. If you guys haven't seen it, but Dorian's like, I thought it was Maxey until he came off the rim, and then we saw it's Luka. everybody had their jokes about it after the game, and seeing the Steph, graphic designer for the Mavs, she tweeted out a video after
amazing.
It's incredible, but it also has a slow-mo of the bench reaction, and you can see all the guys, even like Moses Wright, new Mav Moses Wright going nuts, Boban's face, Reggie Bullock's going nuts. It's like, they're going to talk about this. Like Luka's probably going to like frame this. This has to be a Luka Instagram post. And there's like the picture that is going around of like from above the rim, his eyes are shut, which makes it even better.
Yes.
And it's a great play. But let me.
I'm watching this right now, and Tim Hardaway Jr., broken foot and all, is like standing up, screaming, yelling. You know who's yelling one of the loudest though? Is Jared Dudley.
Let's go, my guy.
Speaking,
read my piece on Mavs.
I was gonna say, speaking of,
with Jared Dudley. But I want to turn it back around real quick. Was that the biggest moment of the night? Because I almost think that the singling out of LeBron at the end of this game, like almost overshadowed the dunk. I was like, nothing
for sure
dunk. But then when it was like, even though it wasn't like, Twitter's going to make it seem like it was like 10 straight possessions, even though it's just a few possessions, they literally were singling out LeBron as a mismatch on defense. And Luka took advantage of that. I think that's one of the bigger moments. What
was more surprising, that putback dunk or the fact that not only did Luka call for the switch with LeBron, but Jason Kidd called for it as well. You and I both went back and rewatched the last couple of minutes there. 4 minutes and 42 seconds left. Luka calls over Dorian for a switch. Dorian has LeBron James guarding him. Luka had somebody else on him, and they, Dorian screens for Luka. They get the switch. LeBron is now on Luka. Luka is now isoing on LeBron. And if you go back a little bit farther in the footage, you can see Jason Kidd yelling at Dorian Finney-Smith from all the way across the gym, saying, "Do, just like yelling at him. And then he comes up and sets the screen. Luka then fades to the left side of the rim, makes a shot there. The very next possession, Jason Kidd looks over at Reggie Bullock, who has LeBron James guarding him, and points at him and motions for him to come up to Luka, and he calls for it again, and that's when Luka gets the alley-oop to Dwight Powell. So he got an assist on that one, a made field goal on the first one. 3 minutes and 15 seconds left. Luka is now calling for it. We didn't see Jason Kidd on this one, but Luka calls for whoever is LeBron is guarding to come up. They get the switch again, and then he hits that floater over him. And then it happened 2 more times where Dwight gets the offensive rebound that was absolutely massive with a minute left. And then he missed a floater late in the game. So it was only 5 possessions at the end of this game where it was Luka with LeBron guarding him, but they seemed so massive because it was such a big turning point in the game.
And I think it's surprising for some people because it's like that, that's when you go at your biggest mismatch, right? Like that, you have to have the bucket. It's not like he was going after him, the first quarter. It was the game's on the line, biggest moments of the night. You're going for your biggest mismatch, and that's what they were going after, was LeBron guarding Luka. I'm not surprised that Luka scored because LeBron's defense hasn't been there for a few seasons. So it's just,
he turns it up when he needs to, but during in games like this, it's
one, he's always been overrated defensively. 2, the defense
I can't say one little small positive thing about LeBron before you're like jumping all over it.
No, I'm just saying I don't think his defense has been.
I've seen LeBron play some solid defense
on Instagram, or did Clutch put it out? I didn't know if Rich put it out or not. If it was on a.
Do you know that LeBron James is a good scorer? Do you know? Can I say that at least he scored a lot of buckets in his?
He had some great shots tonight.
God bless. But it's still surprising for some people to see LeBron James, who's been on the all defensive team like so many times over the course of his career, still a really, really good player at this point in his career, to have Luka call him up. And I think he did that for a couple reasons. He thought he could get by him. But then you take LeBron out of the play. I think Matt Moore was the first one to point this out, Locked On Nuggets podcast. He pointed out that when LeBron is one of the benefits of having, Luka ISO on LeBron is that LeBron is no longer a help defender in this play. So he can't just come flying over and block the shot of Luka, or come over and, from somewhere else closer to the basket and double team Luka. Because that's what the Lakers were doing this entire game, was double teaming Luka, sending someone over to fly over and double Luka so he could get the ball out of his hands. If LeBron's chasing Luka from behind, then all of a sudden somebody else has to come over and double, and that's just going to be a mismatch no matter who it is on the court because the Lakers are going real small.
Yeah, actually, let's take a break. And coming up, I want to continue this conversation because there's, I did a piece with Jared Dudley, came out yesterday, but there's a portion of that I want to wrap into this LeBron conversation that I think can play a part in it.
We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about how the Mavericks actually got down. They had a 21-point lead at one point. We'll break that all down and talk about Isaac's great piece on Jared Dudley and why he matters for the Mavericks going forward. We'll talk about that coming up. Before we do, NBA fans, you're looking for a daily fantasy option. Maybe you've joined us since the Cowboys have now been out of the the NFL playoffs, and the NFL is now over. You're back and joining us. You want an option for daily fantasy for the NBA. Check out PrizePicks. It's an award-winning app. It's daily fantasy made easy. We love this app. You pick 2 to 5 players and an over-under on their projections, and you can win up to 10 times on an entry. It's just you versus the projected numbers, not anybody. You're not going against anybody. It's not a pool of people that you're going against where they have all these like servers and things that they are calculating algorithms and all kinds of things like that. PrizePicks offers a variety of options. You can get any prop from points scored to rebounds, even steals, and you can do mixed sport entries as well. You can do NBA, you can do baseball if they ever play any games. You can do all kinds of stuff as well. For a limited time, PrizePicks is an exclusive, no-brainer of an offer for all of our users. Users will get $50 for free if a player in your first PrizePicks entry scores a single point, but you must use the promo code NBA. That's right. This is an exclusive offer available to all Locked On Mavs fans. Sign up today and use the code NBA to get $50 for free if a player in your first PrizePicks entry scores a single point. PrizePicks, download the app today. All right, Isaac Harris. So let's get into this game a little bit. The Mavericks...
Whoa. Can I say the Dudley thing real quick about LeBron?
I thought we were going to tie it in seamlessly and look like really professional broadcasters, but go ahead.
You said about the game. You went back to the game, and
I thought we were going to tie it into the game. Here, I'll just drink water instead.
I just want to say, when I hung out with Dudley after practice, we were talking about just how important it is to be a player's coach in today's game, and how important it is to be able to relate to these guys. And talking to a couple, different players, Maxey, Dorian, Jalen Brunson, Tim Hardaway in the story, Jason Kidd after practice one day, about the whole, like, why it matters to have a guy like Jared Dudley that just finished playing basketball. And when we were talking about it, and one, a lot of Mavericks defense this year, credit that to Frank Vogel's system, because there's a lot of Vogel stuff as far as the Mavs defense goes with Kidd and
Jason Kidd credits it, and so does Dudley.
Yeah, so anyway, when we were talking about just the relatability and stuff, he was talking about his scouting game, and so much of, he loves scouting. Jared Dudley does. And he said, we were talking about the first Lakers matchup in December. He said, because I played the game, because I know LeBron, I know these guys, he's friends with these guys. He says in the story about how LeBron, Russ, all those guys wanted him back, all this stuff. He's like, I was telling Jason before the game, they're gonna put LeBron on KP. I'm telling him this is the matchup. Jason's asking him. He's like, what? And he said they go out, they put LeBron on KP. This was in December. He's like, it's stuff like that. He said he knows what these guys are doing, and it's this. I wonder how much this game. I wonder if this game was a scouting game for Dudley, because they split all the games 100%. Up for each of the assistants, and each assistant gets like 10 to 15, 10 to 12 games that they scout.
Where basically you do the homework on the game, right? You watch a bunch of their games, you see what they're doing, you try
at least 5 games of them before that game.
You come with the scouting report. And one of the quotes in your story that I thought was really good was Dudley said, you can't BS NBA players. You have to do your homework. You have to come prepared. You have to know your stuff. And so Dudley, instead of doing the normal, what was the number of normal scouting games?
Like 10 to 15, somewhere through there. He's doing 29 this year.
That's a lot. Dudley's doing some homework this year.
It's a lot, and because he knows these guys, and even talking to Maxey, some of these guys in their quotes are like, yeah, well, Duds, he just finished playing, so he knows what some of these guys are going to do. So I wonder, to tie it back to this conversation, I wonder how much of that was a conversation of Dudley, Kidd, and them saying, hey, I know Bron's tired right now. Like, I play with Bron. I know we could tell it. It's not, it's not just him like acting like he's tired. We know he's tired. We need to go after him. I wonder if that relationship, played into that.
Yeah, for sure. And there's talk of a knee situation with LeBron too that he's playing through. I mean, he could know more about that than the rest of us. And he could have known that, right? And be like, hey, let's call for this matchup, and also know that none of the other Lakers defenders out there are good help defenders. It's just LeBron, right? So if you take away that strength from LeBron, all of a sudden you have a much
Monk. I mean,
is Melo flying over there? Is Westbrook flying over there? I don't think so.
he needs to fly somewhere.
Westbrook wasn't flying anywhere. He was flying home, is what Westbrook was doing. But the Mavs in this game, they get up to a 21-point lead in the second quarter. That second quarter, it just looked like everything was going the Mavs' way. The Lakers actually held a lead through most of the first quarter, and then the Mavs just came out in that second quarter. They're absolutely flying. They scored 41 points. It just looked like everything was going right for them. They hit 6 threes. Dorian hit 3 threes. Brunson hit 2 threes. Dinwiddie hit a 3 off the bench. He also scored a couple points, and it was just that bench unit. We've noticed ever since the Dinwiddie and Bertans acquisition that those guys have shored up that bench to where now the Mavs bench is even more of a strength than it was, right? The Mavs at the beginning of the season, the Mavs bench was their strength. It was the reason why they were winning games, because Luka was a net negative on the court when he was playing at the beginning of the season. Brunson and the bench unit were absolutely holding up their end of the bargain and were the reason why the Mavs were winning games. Then at some point, Brunson went to the starting lineup. Tim Hardaway Jr. got injured, and then it changed to where the Mavs bench was nothing, and they were getting 4 points, 8 points off the bench on any given night. And now it's flipped all the way back to the Mavs bench is now a big strength.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Dinwiddie, he had 14 tonight, so he broke his 20-game streak there. But even that, I mean, I think he's averaging 18, 19 points since the All-Star break, coming off the bench. But the Mavericks won 3 quarters in this game. They went into halftime up by 15, and I was writing notes.
3 quarters, not the third quarter, right? They won first quarter, second quarter, and fourth, not the third.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
dreadful third quarter.
No, not good.
I wrote this note because it reached a point to where it looked like they were just going to run away with it, right? Like, I mean, they were about 20. Was it 21? Right?
They got a 21-point lead,
and it looked like, I mean, the Lakers looked old. The Lakers just looked so out of it. I literally wrote this as a note. I said, this feels like a 3-on-3 tourney in my hometown. When you have the group of bankers who play lunch ball, who used to be good back in the day, and then they play the college kids, and you just feel bad for them playing against the old dudes.
Isaac is writing like fan fiction in his game notes.
That was literally my game note, because I'm like, this is what it feels like. I mean,
shout out to the bankers in Campbellsville, Kentucky.
Why'd you just give away my hometown for?
We've said it before.
But no, that's just how I felt. I never thought the third quarter was coming. This Lakers team, I texted Nick, I said, I love this Lakers team. And you're like, they're unbearable to watch. I'm like, no. I love watching this Lakers team. It is one of my favorite teams to watch. And then they freaking came back. And I was so pissed. I'm like, you can't lose to this team.
It was as if the first half did not happen, right? Like, it was as if that first half was it just a completely new started game in the third quarter. And the Mavericks got completely away from what was working for them. In the first half, the Mavericks had 34 points in the paint in the first half, and you go to the third quarter and they had only 10 points in the paint, and you're just like, what happened? Like, what happened to this team? They only scored 14 points overall. They were taking a bunch of threes. They were 1 of 9 from 3. They were 6 of 19 from the field. They had 6 turnovers. They averaged 12 a game. The Mavs averaged 12 turnovers a game. They had 6 in the third quarter. They had 6 fouls as well.
14 total points.
And Luka played the entire quarter. It was like one of the worst quarters I think we've ever seen that Luka plays the entire quarter. And that looked like a classic hangover quarter, right? Like where you would expect the Mavs had a day off in LA and they went out, and this could have been a first quarter. If this was a first quarter, we'd absolutely be saying, wow, this is a hangover quarter. But since it came in the third
birthday.
Yeah, right. It was Luka's birthday. Everybody went out and celebrated. But now that it's the third quarter, it's so strange that this happened. But the Mavs got really complacent, I thought.
Yeah, well, it felt like deja vu, except the other way. It was like, This was Golden State game. It's like, what? I mean, it felt like that type of vibe there. And I just got pissed. Like I was so mad. I stopped texting and everything. I'm like, I hate losing to the Lakers, but to be up 21 and to let them come back. But man, I tweeted this after the game and I said, you got give it to the Mavs, because they're going to have about every type of win under their belt by the end of this season. And we talk about all the time, hey, you got to win. You got to be able to win different ways. Blowouts, beating the bad teams. They beat the bad team tonight. They have the, like, you go against the Stars, you got to be able to change, you go small ball, all this stuff. And tonight, what happens? They go up 20, they let a team come back, and not only come back, I think they went up by they were down by 6 or 7 with 9 minutes to go in the game. Is that right? In the fourth, maybe even less time than that. And they came back and won. It's like a new type of way. It's like they're over there trying to create, hey, what's a scenario of a game that we haven't had yet? Because we need to try to win every way possible.
We'll talk about why it's important the Mavericks are winning games in different ways. We'll talk about how much of an impact Spencer Dinwidie had off the bench, as well as Jalen Brunson had a bounce back game. We'll talk about those guys and why they're so important for the Mavs going forward coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Built Bar. It's a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar.
I ate one for breakfast this morning.
Hey, which flavor do you have?
The moment that I opened my pantry and I dug in my Built Bar basket,
yes,
and I found a coconut brownie, I freaked out.
It's great. The coconut brownie chunk is the best bar. Isaac, you don't even like coconut, right?
I don't at all, but I do.
Not at all.
Bar.
But you like this bar because this bar is incredible. It's so good. You will be you'll be very surprised how good this bar is. You can get it at built.com. Use the promo code LOCKED15. You get 15% off your entire order. It's a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. They actually don't have coconut brownie chunk available on the website right now because they sell out so fast. We try to tell you guys, they sell out these bars. Mint brownie is on sale right now. That is an incredible bar as well. That one is a great one. The churro puff bar, I also love. That has marshmallow in it. So go check it out. Built.com for the best protein bars in the world. Built.com, promo code LOCKED15. All right, Isaac Harris, let's continue with this game. Again, the Dallas Mavericks get the win 109-104 against the Lakers after going up by 21. The Mavericks basically blow the lead, but I got a new drop for you, and I'm excited about this one. Shout out to Iron Eagle on the call on TNT.
Doncic, saucy!
Saucy.
Doncic, saucy!
I love that one. Doncic, saucy. That was a layup in the first quarter, but Luka in the fourth quarter, I thought came up big. And he closed. He closed again, right? It's the same kind of win that the Mavericks had the last time we talked about this, where they have all of a sudden this infrastructure where they can win if Luka's not playing his best game. And I don't think he played his best game. I saw one of our friends that runs a big Mavs account tweet out, Luka just out-dueled LeBron in national TV. And I was like, yeah, in the fourth quarter, he out-dueled him for those last couple minutes there on a couple of those plays. But if you look at his stats overall, I didn't think he had a great game. This is not like a Luka 35 point, 12 board, 15 assists type game. It was 25 points, 8 boards, 5 assists. He had 6 turnovers, missed all 5 of his threes, was 9 of 21 from the field, missed 4 free throws. You're like, he didn't have the best game. Like, it wasn't just this incredible, all of a sudden Luka is gunning for the MVP type game, but he closed when they needed him because they had other guys that contributed.
Yeah, I mean, it was those buckets late that it felt like it was weird because after he scored his last bucket there in the fourth, it felt like, oh man, does he have 35 now? And then you look at it, it's like, all right, well, he didn't really score that much in the fourth quarter.
I mean, LeBron actually outscored him 26-25 if you want to just take the straight up numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like LeBron had 40 either. I mean, LeBron had 26 and 12, but more efficient across the board for LeBron tonight. But yeah, I look at Jalen Brunson, and one, I was watching him in that third quarter and I was getting frustrated, but it was more everybody in that third quarter. And he was 4 of 6 tonight. And go look at some,
from 3.
Looking at the what?
He was 4 of 6 from 3.
Yeah, 4 of 6 from 3. And when you look at guys, you're trying to build these teams, a team around Luka Doncic, our whole thing, Dinwiddie, anybody. Can you hit a catch and shoot 3?
Yep.
And go look at Jalen Brunson's catch and shoot 3s for this season, because that's the thing. It's like, yes, can you defend that? That's if you're going to play alongside Luka, all that, can you get your own shot? But one of the biggest things, if you're going to play alongside Luka, you got to be able to hit the 3 in a catch and shoot scenario. And Jalen Brunson's doing that season. It's over 40% this year. And that's huge. And all 4 of his 3s tonight, catch and shoot 3s, knock it down. Like, he's reaching a point now where I'm like, oh, that's good. Like, that's automatic.
Yep.
And I wasn't like that the past, few years.
It's massive. And this was a game that Brunson can play in, right? This is a game that we know Brunson can thrive in. This was not a game where I was looking at it and say, ooh, this is not like the Jazz game or the Heat game or the Warriors game where I go, okay, I'm watching this game to see if this is a game Brunson can play in, right? This wasn't a game for me like that, where you go into this game thinking, all right, let's see if Brunson can play. But he has to take advantage of the ones that he can play in as well. And so he did in this one. 22 points, 4 assists, 4 steals for him as well, and 4 threes. a really good game for him, a good supporting role. Dinwiddie didn't have as good of a game as he's had in the last couple, and so Brunson stepping up was massive for this team. And he's the Mavs need those three guys. Two of them have to be on at all times, right? Like only one of them can kind of be off. And Spencer Dinwiddie was sort of the guy that was off, but 14 points, 9 assists off the bench. You take that every day of the week, I think.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, how many times this season have we had a guy, just scoring double digits? I mean, the other night we were just talking about, the whole bench scoring like 4 points or 8 points.
Yeah.
Tonight just wasn't Berton's night. I mean, 0-4 from 3. It's like, hey, you just didn't have it tonight. It was an off night for him.
I think when he tried to take, I have a theory. I think when he tried to take that charge from LeBron, that kid looked at him and said, "Okay, I don't think this is a Bertans night," and just took him out. I don't know if he played the rest of the game. He played 4 minutes in the second half, and I think Kidd has a litmus test about Bertans. Okay, if he hits a couple threes and I can tell he can defend in this matchup in the first half, I'll play him more in the second half. That's my theory going forward, and this was not one of those.
I will say the big rotation in this was a little off for me, a little weird that Dwight played 20 minutes, Maxey played 27. When you're facing a Lakers team that doesn't really have AD's not out there. The great future Hall of Famer DeAndre Jordan was waived.
Gone.
They started LeBron at center, so I feel like tonight, Carmelo, like Dwight, God bless him, came in for his 4 minutes and got put on the poster. But it's like they were small most of the night. And there were a few times, especially in the second half and in the third quarter, I'm like, why are we big right now? Like, why do we have a big out there? I
felt that same way until that fourth quarter stretch. The couple times when LeBron got switched on to Luka, there was that with 4 minutes left, Luka got the assist to Dwight. He threw it up for him for the alley-oop, and he was able to get the put. Nasty, yeah. He was able to get the putback. That was a good one. And then with 42 seconds left, Bullock misses that 3 from the corner, and Dwight gets that offensive rebound, and that was massive. I thought that was. I was surprised too that Dwight was in there. And usually, if you've listened to this podcast, you know that Isaac and I have bemoaned Dwight's defense and rebounding and all kinds of stuff. But in that kind of a matchup, when he's up against guys like that he can still defend because he's still staying in front of Carmelo. He's still staying in front of Taylor Horton Tucker
and LeBron. Like, I think that's the thing too. It's like,
and
if
LeBron
stay in front of LeBron, he's probably not out there.
No, he's toast in that matchup, but he's athletic enough to do that. And so having that extra size against a team like that helped in the margins. Those 2 plays right there down the stretch where he got the alley-oop assist, he got the alley-oop with Luka, the assist, and then the offensive rebound that won them the game.
Yeah. Yes.
On the margins, this is a close game. You get those.
I don't know if that offensive board won them the game, but
if those 2 plays go the other way, then we're talking about a different game.
Yeah, for sure. I thought Dorian
lob it up for Brunson. He doesn't lob it up for Bullock.
Go get it, Brunson. They need to be doing lobs to Luka, I guess.
I guess.
I thought Dorian played another good game. He had the LeBron assignment tonight. Basically from opening tip, but. 6 of 10 for him, hit 3 threes in this game, 9 rebounds for him. I mean,
2 offensive rebounds, Isaac.
Did you know that he's a great offensive rebounder? I have one non-game question to ask you, unless you have something else about the game.
Yeah, no, Dorian I thought was great. It's another one of those games where you just like, that's why you pay him, right? That's why you pay him $13 million for 16 points, three threes, a steal and a block, a couple assists as well. In the post game, Dorian was on the podium, and then in the middle of it, all of a sudden he just gets this question from way in the back. Like on Zoom, you could just hear it way in the back, and it's Theo Pinson that came in and said, Dorian, why are you scared of 20 points? He's had one 23-point game this year and still hasn't gotten another one. And he said, why are you scared of 23 points? And then they kept talking back and forth. That was a pretty fun moment in the post-game presser. But yeah, Dorian proving that, with Dinwiddie as well now, the Mavs only need a couple role players to play well, right? Like your margin for error just goes down so far because it used to have to be, you'd have to have Dorian, Reggie, Maxey, Josh Green or somebody. You have to have 2 of those guys play well. And now it's kind of only like 1, right? Yeah. As long as you get those 2 of those 3 ball handlers to play well and at least 1 of those role players to play really well, then that's recipe for winning games.
And I know we talk about the trade, in the sense of, hey, we traded a big for a ball handler and a shooter and like basketball fit wise.
That's true.
But something to ask ourselves is, in which the Wizards could be doing this because of how bad they are, but like KP still isn't playing. Like,
Yeah.
what if they didn't do the trade and KP's still out right now, and we're going through all these games without Dinwiddie and Bertans? How many of these games are we like losing over this, over this stretch? It's just a question. I don't know. I don't know how bad KP's injury is for Wash to be holding him out, but I got a question. Do you draft Bronny to get LeBron?
Sure.
If you're Mark Cuban in 2 years?
Sure. Mark Cuban's not sold on it, but maybe the Mavs still do it. I mean, what are we talking about? Is it this year? It's not this year, right?
No, it's not this year. It's like 2024. That's if he's good enough to come out after 1 year.
2024.
Because he's a junior right now. He's got to play senior high school. Then he's going to go play 1 year of college, probably. And then he could theoretically come out.
He may not have to play 1 year of college if it's 2024. How long have they been sitting on that high school rule?
That's true. I mean, I don't know if that could get changed.
Didn't we think it was supposed to be 2022? Was supposed to be that year?
Well, that would have to change like now, like really quick for him to be eligible for the draft after like next season.
Yeah.
But realistically, it's like a couple summers from now. We all saw the LeBron the LeBron quote. LeBron's got to put the spotlight on him in All-Star Weekend. And actually, well, anyway,
he put the spotlight on Rob Pelinka, I think, a little bit more than he put it on himself.
Kind of, but LeBron's got to write that narrative, LeBron. But
that's your favorite thing about the NBA, isn't it?
LeBron and narratives is unbelievable. I like how media falls into
this. That was one of those moments where you don't have to watch the video to know exactly how Isaac felt about something. Just that little exhale of the breath, you could tell. Like you could just, what the look on his face was.
Man, LeBron obviously said, he's like, hey, I want to play with Bronny, his son. Whenever he comes into the league. So whoever gets Bronny, you get LeBron, and yeah. So I speculated on it. I did the solo pod coming out of All-Star Weekend, and I was like, hey, what owner would be really like gung-ho about it? And it's like, I'm just going to do this to get LeBron and just like embrace it and be all about it. I wouldn't know any owner who would do that.
No, I don't know. We'll see. It's a couple years from now.
I'm kidding. There are definitely owners that are going to line up to do this. Like, and I could definitely see Mark Cuban doing this, right? Like, I mean, we
haven't said this in a while, but loyal listener to the podcast, Mark Cuban, if you're doing this, let us know and come on the pod if you're gonna sign LeBron and draft Bronny. Let us know.
I think he did give a quote to somebody out there. It was I forgot what the source it was. It's like a sport track. Something I did see a Mark Cuban quote about the possibility of drafting Bronny, and if the quote is real, he made a joke on there about not burning a second round, like he's not just going to burn a second round pick for the heck of it. And I just laughed out loud at that because we've definitely burned some second round picks on some other things. So anyway, I think it's definitely something that will be fun to speculate on and to see if LeBron is really true to his word on that, right? Because is he going to give up a chance to go for a fifth ring?
Sports Grid. Like, would
LeBron give up a chance to go for his fifth ring, which, I mean, he would desperately need to even have a shot at
where?
I don't know.
He's not doing it with the Lakers right now.
But what if like the Pacers draft Bronny? Is LeBron going to Indiana?
LeBron, Brogdon, and Halliburton can win the title. And Isaiah Jackson.
It's like 39-year-old LeBron. But anyway, Luka might be saying, hey, I want Bron. Give me Bron. We could be looking
What a vet to have on the team, though.
2 years from now, LeBron and Luka and Bronny.
What if he's more moved in like the Vince Carter level of
don't ever
of veteran?
Put LeBron in Vince Carter's sentence with me. Don't you ever speak
Two players that are good at dunking are LeBron and Vince Carter.
There you go.
Anyway, there you go. That's the game. The Mavericks get the win. Tomorrow, we're going to break down more about this Mavericks team, and then we'll have the Warriors game on Thursday. That is a pretty big game as well. And then Saturday, we'll have a post game for you against the Kings. Check back with the podcast. Subscribe if you're not, guys. Thanks so much for making Locked On Mavs your first listen. Now make your second listen, Locked On NBA. Tomorrow, I will be hosting with your boy, Big Dave. He is awesome, and we'll be breaking down all the NBA action, so you can check it out today and tomorrow in 30 minutes. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Boom.